know it's been a long while since I've posted anything on YouTube, but I'm going to tell you right now as to what's been going on. So, for the past month or so, I've been focusing on my BizUp client. She's amazing. I love working with her, and I've been setting up her email sequence. Currently, I'm just refining it and making the emails shorter, more straight to the point. And after that, I'll basically be creating her sales page for her info product, so we can have the launch ready. Because I want her to have the launch, like, honestly, as soon as possible. Because we also need to run ads. We need to, get her opt-ins, get her leads, and that's also going to be time consuming, and that's fine. And then I have my other client, an ecom client, who I spent like 2 to 3 weeks in August learning what specific workflows would be best for her so that I can deliver the best results for her, because I didn't know anything about ecom, okay? And I'm taking the most unorthodox approach, and it's controversial. It would drive even the dropshipping gurus insane as to what I'm doing. But what I'm doing essentially is I told my client, like, hey, if you shifted your focus away from design emails and focus more on text style emails and make them feel more personal to the reader and focus more on building a relationship with them, long term, you'll win. And not only that, people are more likely to buy your product because you're not spamming them like fancy looking emails and just pretty much just telling them to buy from you, because you're not giving them much of a reason to. And if we're going to be basically launching cold traffic to buy your products, you want to basically build some relationship with them. And so she gave me free reign to do that, and that was great. So that was done. Now I'm just waiting for her to tell me a few events she's done since the past year, and I could basically tell that as a story, so I can immerse the reader and the entrepreneurial lifestyle of a small business owner. Like, what struggles do they face? What problems do they face? What their days look like, and what she's doing. Because I want the audience to feel like they're part of something. Like something that she's building, and they're part of it, and they're important of it. And that's something I want from my client. And I will admit that things have been a bit slow on both my clients. They're not as communicative, and I always have to be the one going to them to communicate and checking up on them, like, hey, are you still alive? Do you still have a pulse? Are you still out there? And they are. I don't know why I said that. Shit, I lost my train of thought. Okay, so aside from waiting a response from my ecom client, so I can write the last few emails so we can launch it and just write her ad scripts, so we can get cold traffic to her lead list and actually test the high converting email welcome sequence and all that. Because I think that's also the fastest way we can get my client a win. Because I also think getting your clients fast wins is also a good way to get them more likely to stick with you. I've also fired a client I had originally, and the simple reason for that is just there wasn't much communication. I would communicate with him, he wouldn't take my feedback, he would want me to run cold email, and I found certain things in his cold email weren't really set up well, and whenever I would run cold email, I would get him really good open rates, and we would get him above a 1% reply, which at the start isn't really that bad. But I wasn't getting him the results I wanted him to get, and I also didn't want to waste his time. So out of respect, even though I didn't have to do this, a bunch of people would have just dropped, without saying a word, or just quit. But what I did for him is I basically did a lot of work for him for free. I basically gave him 2 options that he can take, and they're ready. If he's going to follow with cold email, he could just give the cold email guy everything that I wrote for him, everything I made, and he can use that, right? So he doesn't start from scratch, and he can get this guy results. And the other path is I basically wrote him ad scripts and I made him an opt-in page copy. I basically gave him like ideas of what he could do. And I think he would do a lot better if he ran ads. But the thing is, he was running ads, but whoever he had as running ads wasn't really getting him as much results as he wanted. So he was less open to do that. And that was tough. So I didn't want to be wasting another month and try to do a bunch of stuff for free for him. You know, because I'm like, even though it was a commission role, with all the work that I was doing for him, it's not really something I'd be open to doing another month. And I stuck to my word. I literally just said to myself, I'm only going to work with this guy for this till this time. And if, you know, he's not really open to doing any of the things I'm asking him he could do, you know, because I want him to get results, then at that point, it's just better to drop him. Because I haven't signed any contract with him, and I honestly just owe him nothing, really. But still, being kind as I am, I decided to leave this guy stuff for him to use. I've also been confronting my own fears, like, for example, right now, getting on camera. I'm about to, and I will be posting 2 reels this week. They're not going to be perfect. Maybe they're going to suck. Actually, they're going to suck. And that's fine. And that's the whole point. It's part of the reason why I'm building what I'm building. It's because I just want to show that it just doesn't matter where you're from, where you are, who you are. You can get anywhere you want to be. You just got to be willing. And you just have to have the proper beliefs and mindsets. Because I learned this from my boy KJ, that your beliefs basically dictate what actions you'll take. So if I thought of myself as basically a fat loser, I would make the actions of a fat loser. If I thought of myself as someone that already has a physique that I want, I'd be making the actions of that person. And it's something that even in the book, James Charles, the author of Atomic Habits, spoke about how your identity dictates what actions you take. So you might have the intention of doing certain habits that you know are good for you, but if you still have this negative label on yourself, you're going to be sabotaging yourself and you'll be frustrating yourself. And I faced this myself too. But bit by bit, I've been overcoming them. And I've made progress. And I've been doing a bit of meditation. Some people see that as a waste of time, but to me it helps. It helps me improve my attention span, focus on the moment, and it helps me get more quality output in my deep work. And it helps me like be present and be more focused in the present, you know? Because I believe that social media, especially in our generation, has effed up so many people's minds due to a lot of like scrolling. And so my advice, if you have sucky attention span, do some mindfulness meditation. You're gonna find out how bad your attention span is right now, but just allow yourself to suck and just time yourself. Don't try not to go for 10 minutes, just go for like, okay, time yourself for like how long you can focus on your breath for. And the minute that your mind wanders off, breathe in to get your focus back to the present, and then you just stop the timer and see how long you were focused for. But yeah, that's about everything, and that's really my update. And I know that my background is bland as it is, but I'm making the best with what I got. So there's that. I'm excited with what I'm building, the community I'll build, and I'm pretty sure you guys are going to love it. It's going to take time, but this will be amazing. And I'm excited to where I will be in the next 4 months and where I'll be in the future. And yeah, just believe you can do anything you believe in. You can do anything. You just have to be willing to do. And you also have to understand what beliefs you currently have about yourself, write them on paper. And then write the opposite beliefs. So if you wrote down your negative beliefs, write down the positive beliefs. Read them out loud in the morning, even if it's weird. And then basically visualize you acting on those beliefs and believing them, because the mind can't tell the difference between reality and something from imagination. But yeah, just believe in yourself, and you can learn from me. If you're inspired by what I do, great. I'm just here to show that someone like me can do it, so can you. Thank you for watching my video. That's my update for today.